Good morning. I'm Samuel Hunter, Assistant Director of Neighborhood Services. Thank you for joining us today on this joyous occasion. We are here to celebrate former Brown Elementary School, and we are here in the first phase of the Choice Neighborhood Initiative at Brown School Lofts at Legacy Heights. We are very thankful for everyone to be in attendance. We're very thankful for all of our elected officials to be in attendance as well, from the city and the county, and maybe even any state representatives as well. We are appreciative of the manager's office from the city and county being here to support us as well. You're going to hear from a number of folks this morning. We'll keep it brief, but we are so glad that you're here. It's a beautiful day to celebrate this new and old collaboration. So I'm just going to give you a little bit of history about Brown Elementary School before I turn it over to Mayor Pro Tem Adams. So in 1910, originally named Woodland Avenue Colored School, it was one of the first original black-only schools for residents in Winston-Salem. And this was before Winston-Salem and Forsyth County schools merged together. Opening its doors in 1910, it continued to operate until 1977. Robert Washington Brown was at the helm of the school. He was the principal, which the elementary school was named after him after his death in 1941. There were a number of students that attended the school. We have some in attendance that you will hear from today. We are very thankful for them. After the school closed its doors in 1977, Shiloh Baptist Church purchased the school from the system. Shiloh Baptist Church is just on the other corner here. They purchased the church, operated it as a daycare for a number of years. Then the Housing Authority purchased the church from Shiloh Baptist Church in the early 2010s. Unfortunately, the school burned down in 2016 due to a series of unfortunate events. But to commemorate the school, the Housing Authority had the idea to put new housing on this site, which is surrounding you today. And again, that is funded through the Choice Neighborhood Initiative, so we're very thankful for that grant from the federal government. After the school burned down in 2016, we went into planning mode and developed a plan to put some new mixed income units here. And we are very thankful for everyone that resides here that went into the implementation of this. There was a lot of community feedback, and it was community driven to get everything that we have here today. So again, we're very thankful for everyone being in attendance today. We will hear from a number of speakers. I'm going to turn it over to Mayor Pro Tem Dee Adams.
Thank you, Sam. Good morning. It is brisk out here. As you see, I got a coat, a scarf, or whatever. But it's a beautiful day to commemorate history in the African-American community. I am Dee Adams, council member of the North Ward and Mayor Pro Tem. One of the things our mayor, I want to make sure you hear his greetings. He was not able to be here today. Our Mayor Allen joins, and you'll hear from Councilmember Scipio momentarily. Commemorating history in our community and county is very important. And all of you know how I feel about the community, that somehow or another, a lot of our history has been torn down, taken away. It doesn't exist. I mean, the actual land exists, but the actual buildings, the housings, the things that people go when you go to Old Salem or any of the Moravian settlements or any of the historical parts of our city county, we don't have much, but even though we know that we built or helped to build a lot of this city and this county. So thanks to our Historic Resources Commission, when I got on the council in '09, and I was attending all of these markers for these other places in our city, and it bothered me that we didn't have anything basically that we could start marking our community and its history. Hence the historic markers in the African American community. I still want to thank Michelle McCullough and all of the staff, the planning department, that eventually we get to a point or a place that we not only have a marker, a sign, that we are able to have some actual visuals of actual what it looked like then. Something that we can bring our future generations to in the community to see what Brown School looked like. I know what it looked like. I went to Kennedy Junior High, the original Kennedy Junior High. I had lived on Claremont around the corner that you call Martin Luther King, across right up the street from the CVS store. So I know what it looked like. I used to come over here to the school, and you're here. Some of my church members and friends that went to this school to give their history. Want to go ahead and recognize the elected officials that are here today. We have present with us County Commissioners Chair Don Martin. Don, you need to stand up, honey, so people can see you. We have Commissioner Tanya McDaniel. We have Commissioner Dan Bessie. And we have new Commissioner Gray Wilson. Are there any other elected officials in the audience? We have Councilmember Gorman from Kernersville, right there, from Kernersville. Councilmember Carolyn Jones from Walkertown. Please stand back up again, Councilwoman. Any others? We also have present city and county officials and staff. I'm just going to recognize a few. We have here today County Manager Chantel Robinson. She's new, and she is on the job. We have with us also City Manager Pat Pate. And we have some other staff from the county and city as well. If you would kind of shout out over here. Chris Murphy. Aaron. Angel. Any others? Thank you so much. I'm now going to call up the council member of the East Ward, born and raised right here in Winston-Salem, in the East Ward, Councilmember Annette Scipio.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to this wonderful day of recognizing what I knew as Woodland Avenue School. For those of us who were born here and raised here, this was part of where I walked. I attended Shiloh Baptist Church, which is right over there. And the church parsonage for Reverend R.M. Pitts was right behind this building here. All of this was the school property. Woodland was very special. If you were a first grader going to third grade, you came to Woodland. And people came and they walked to school. One of my dear friends in my latter years was a lady named Miss Ida. Miss Ida grew up right here on Highland. Her family had a home, and it was down where Colony Place now stands. Highland Avenue had a very beautiful look. Large houses, people owned their homes, all the way up Highland. My great aunt lived where St. Stephen's Episcopal Church now is, and they bought that house and built their house in 1921. So it was a very fashionable street, very stable neighborhood, and kids loved coming to Woodland. I came to visit Woodland because I had family members who worked in that school building, and I had friends whose parents worked there. One of my dear friends was Valeria Hayes, whose father was the principal, Principal Hayes. But Miss Ida talked about Woodland when she died at 101 about 2 years ago. And her memories of Woodland were so phenomenal. She would say, "Yes, Annette, we dressed to go to school. You had to be dressed just right. And we walked up the street, and we would go into the building, and Professor Brown would be there to welcome us. Yes, Professor Brown was always there, and you stood tall, and you did your work, and everything was in order." And she said that with such pride. I said, wow, that was a special place. So to recognize the school is very special in the hearts of those who knew what was here. in this space, on this soil, to recognize the people who gave so much during times when we had so little is very, very special. I certainly hope that the memory of this school and that which used to be here in our hearts will stay in our hearts. Brown was so special for so many, as were other schools like 14th Street Elementary, where I attended. It is true, so much of our legacy was closed, sold, torn down, destroyed because of urban renewal. So those of you who have memories, who understand what our neighborhoods were, I want to encourage you to go to the city's website and tell your story on the African American Heritage Initiative site. We need your memories. That's the only way our lifestyle will be captured and it will continue. Because at some point, all of us are going to go to glory. But we do want those beautiful memories to survive. So I thank you for this day. Thank you all for coming out, because that means you know how significant this commemoration is. Thank you so much.
We're going to go ahead and follow the program as it's read. Next, we're going to have up Chanita Johnson, and then we're going to have Gail Cuthran, and then we're going to have Trish McManus, Superintendent of Forsyth County Schools.
Good morning, everyone. How you doing? A little chilly? Just a little bit? My name is Chanita Barbara Johnson, and I am a member of the Forsyth County Historic Resources Commission. On behalf of the Commission and the Marker Committee, I'd like to thank you for being here today. Just a little history about our markers. The first local historic markers were installed in 2001. To date, we have placed over 70 markers throughout Forsyth County. Historic markers help residents remember and learn about the important places, events, and the people in the community's collective history, our collective history. These markers identify a place on the landscape and in history, and they should not be forgotten. Today, we're celebrating Brown Elementary School. In 1910, Woodland Elementary School for African American students opened on this location. Woodland Avenue was renamed Brown Elementary School in 1941 to honor longtime principal Robert Washington Brown. Who was Mr. Brown? Mr. Brown was an educator. He was a civic and religious leader and co-founder of Winston Mutual Insurance Company. The school was later integrated in August of 1971, and in 1984, it closed. After a major fire in 2016, the school was demolished. So we would like to thank the members of the Winston-Salem Choice Neighborhood Initiative for applying for this marker and bringing publicly to this important part of our local history. And that's very important. Once again, I'm Chanita Barbara Johnson, and I thank you from the Historic Commission for your attendance on this very important historic day. Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning. Everybody doing all right? Yeah. Good. My name is Gail Cawthon, and I was one of the students at Brown Elementary School. I could think of a lot of things that I could say, but I just wrote some things down, you know. But during the year 1966, I was 6 years old, going to Brown Elementary. I lived in Cleveland Projects. We walked to school every day, whether it was rain, sleet, or snow. There was not any school closings. When it snowed, you walked. You put your boots on, your coat, your hat, and your mama sent you to school, okay? There were some of the teachers that I do remember at the time that was at Brown Elementary School. Mrs. Hartsfield was everybody's first grade teacher. And she's still living today. I think Ms. Hartsfield is in her 90s, and she's still living. There was Miss O'Kelly, Mr. Cupid Kellum, I don't know if some of y'all remember him, Mr. Charles Eaton, Miss Eunice Long, Miss Laura Hooper, I think a lot of us remember her, Miss Louise Smith, and we had Mr. Norman King as our principal. And Mr. Norman King did not play. And those teachers did not play either. They was able to spank you and go home, and you just better go home, okay? So at that time, it was really great. I do remember at the time in 1968, there was a riot. Anybody remember the riot? That was the year Dr. Martin Luther King was assassinated, and there were several stores up on Liberty Street. We were still in school at that time. That's right. They didn't let us go home. There were several stores that was up on Liberty Street that was destroyed during the riot. There was Daniel Furniture Company, Wooten and Womble, Auto Parts. They tried to destroy the Zesto, but it was still standing. Because that Zesto was part of our eating and part of our life. We were able to go to the Zesto after school, during school. They was but if you skipped school, you went. Okay. During those class times, now they let you out of school. They close the school when you're voting. We had to go to school. We was in school voting hours. That's right. You didn't go home. That's right. You were still in school, okay? And at that time, there were no teacher work days. Mm-hmm. The teachers worked. They worked during those years, during the time of Brown Elementary School. I am so proud to still be here because a lot of my classmates are gone on to be with the Lord. And God has blessed us to become in a beautiful place today, to be reminded of what it used to be. And I want to thank you for this space today.
Good morning, everyone. I am Tricia McManus, and I am superintendent of Winston-Salem Forsyth County Schools, and I am very honored to be here today. To hear, the first thing I did when I got here today was just close my eyes and actually pictured children like coming to school, running, being excited to be at school, and to meet somebody that was actually here and attended school here is very special. Is anybody else in the audience? Did anybody else attend here? Oh my gosh, it is an honor, yes. It is such an honor. I will tell you that that our students today, understanding their history and understanding all the history of our city is a priority for the school district. And I will say that historic markers like this keep the history alive. And so I just want to thank our city, our county, and I'm going to get this wrong, the Historic Resources Commission, everyone for making that a priority. We are very committed to that. We have recently received grants that allow our students to travel into all parts of our city so that we can keep the history alive. We have to keep it alive for all those that went before our students. And so thank you. I'm honored to be here today, and turn it over to the next person. Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent McManus. Next up, we're going to have Kevin Cheshire, Executive Director of the Winston-Salem Housing Authority.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. It's hard to follow those remarks from a lot of wonderful people who have been so supportive. I was at a similar event about a year ago and heard a statement that at this point everything has been said, but not everyone has said it. And I think I'm fit into that category. So I am really proud of this Housing Authority initiative. This is the kind of developments that we pursue and that we're a part of. And we have a couple that I would encourage everyone to ride by on your way out, Camden Station and the Oaks at 10th, which are similar. And it's unfortunate that sometimes our housing is stigmatized and the residents who make these apartment communities home are stigmatized. This is housing. That's right. And we call it a lot of different things: workforce, affordable, low income, public, but it's housing. Yes. And it's housing for people, okay? And that's what we want to continue to build. And I think it's appropriate with respect to this particular initiative that we're here certainly to honor Brown Elementary School and also Robert Washington Brown. And I think it's important to remember that Mr. Brown was successful. Winston Mutual was known not just in the Triad, not just in North Carolina, but across the Southeast. He didn't choose to come educate because he needed a side hustle. Okay, he invested in his community. And that's what we need to do, invest in our community, and this is an example of that. And that's what we're committed to do, to doing as part of the Choice Neighborhood Initiative. And Mr. Brown, he finished the race. He ran it to completion. He was an educator until the day he died. And I would encourage us as a community to finish the Choice Neighborhood race to completion, because this is phase 1. And we've got 4 more phases planned, and we're not going to be able to do it without support, certainly from our elected officials at the city level, the county level, the state level, the federal level, as well as with support from the community, from residents. So I thank you guys for being here. I'm proud of this initiative. We want to honor the history in the community. We want to recognize and build on and respect the culture. Everything that we do is not to or for, but with the community and building on what's gone before and honoring what's gone before. So thank you for being here, and I would implore you to help us complete this race and move down the street to Cleveland Avenue Homes and build similar housing that you see here on that site. Thank you all.
We're going to have some more remarks from Jerry. Come on up. Just one of my church members, too. Come on. To make sure you tell the pastor I recognize
I sure will. Good morning, everybody. My name is Daniel Jenkins. I went to Brown Elementary from 1963 to 1970. I learned a lot here at Brown Elementary. I learned a lot from Mr. Cuthrin. I got in trouble with Mr. Norman King, so I had to stand and put my hand on the desk. But I'm glad I did, but I just want to thank you guys for coming out. And this is a beautiful place. I seen them break ground here. I had a grandson that used to go over here to the Career Center. So I used to sit in the car every day and watch how the progress they made. It really looked good. And another thing, I'm glad they go do something with the Cleveland Avenue homes. I was born and raised right there at the corner of 14th and Cleveland. All right. So I had some good times over there in Cleveland Project. But I just want to thank you guys for coming, and I hope you guys have a beautiful day.
One of the things that Kevin and Jerry and others articulated, as well as the councilwoman, if you have not driven around not just what Cleveland housing is, you know, we all, the ones of us born and raised here, we know that there were 4 public housing communities. It was Kimberly, it was Happy Hill, it's Piedmont, and it's Cleveland. So I know when you ride by Cleveland, you see a lot of things that look really different. No different than when we did what we did with Kimberly Park in our first Hope 6, and no different than what we did with Happy Hill in the second Hope 6. So again, like Kevin said, we're going to have to make some tough decisions. But one of the things that the city of Winston-Salem promised to do was we will see this project from the beginning to the end. And you got my word on that, okay? Okay? We are now going to go ahead, and those that be prepared to go back, and we're going to unveil the marker. If you just go ahead and go back there, the podium guests and everyone else. Thank you all so much for coming today.